This is a summary of all the campgrounds and places that we spent this 2022, and we're going to start off with our goals for 2022. Stay at 2 Harvest Hosts is always our goal. That way we kind of feel like we get our money's worth. Harvest Hosts are a great place to stay, and we definitely like to stay at them. So this first one we stayed at was on a little dairy farm, and we really enjoyed it. We used this as a bridge. We were traveling pretty far. We wanted to break the travel up a little bit. We had a real nice place to eat across the street, a fish sandwich there, and there's a little lake we drove over to and enjoyed checking out the lake while we were there. And one of the other places that we stayed at was a apple farm, and this was down in south central Kentucky. And this was a really nice place. We stayed right out in front of their barn, and they had a big apple orchard there. We had a little shop. The next morning we went over to their shop and got apple pies. And it's just Harvest Host is an amazing thing. So we're going to be doing more of that this coming year. We'll get to that toward the end, but we're definitely going to get out and utilize Harvest Host a lot more next year. Our next goal was to stay at a new state park. We did get to do this year, but we did get to check out a Corps of Engineers campground that was down on Rough River Lake in southwestern Kentucky. And we hadn't been to this. I hadn't been there since I was 7 years old. I really wanted to come down and camp out here, and we really had a good time. Pretty large campground. It was kind of late in the year, so we didn't do any swimming, but we could have if we wanted to. There's a beautiful beach there, and we just got in some beautiful sunrises there. And we actually got out and did a little fishing, and we tried a few places, and we actually caught a few fish as we got down to another location. And really it's a nice little trip, and we'll definitely have to revisit this place again. Our next goal was camping a new out-of-state park, and we didn't actually stay at a state park, but it actually is a recreational area in Indiana, and it was on Brooksville Lake, and it was called the Mound State Recreation Area. So we liked it there. We had it was a geocaching event we went to, but campgrounds were spaced out real well. It was a large campground, and there was 2 different sections. And there was a lot to do at the lake. We didn't get time to do much at the lake, but we did enjoy the campground for sure. It was one of the nicer ones we've been to. And then we got with our buddies over at one of the picnic areas over by the dam. And this was our geocaching picnic, the spring picnic. And we definitely like getting with all the friends that we have in geocaching. We also enjoyed going and visiting a little town nearby, Metamora. It's a little historic town that had the old canal that used to run through it, that used to run down through the town, and there's a lot of history that we got to check out there. So it was a really enjoyable place to stay. Our next goal was to camp in a new state. Well, again, we didn't get to accomplish this goal this year, but we did check out a campsite that we haven't seen in quite a while. We stayed at Clifty Falls in southern Indiana, and it's a beautiful area along the Ohio River, and got to go up and check it out with a drone a little bit here, and had a large campground. And we did have a geocaching, our fall picnic here, and it's a beautiful area. It's got some white cliffs, sandstone cliffs, and lots of waterfalls, and lots of trails to hike in. This area here is notorious for having lots of steps to go down to the different falls, below them or above them. And we really enjoyed this revisit to this park. It's been quite a few years since we've been up here. Our final goal for this year was to explore new places, and that seems to be we like to do that, and in this case we actually got to check out 2 different places. And one of them was the Pickett CCC Memorial State Park in southeastern Tennessee, and this is one of the neatest parks. It's got a lot of hiking areas, got a lot of natural bridges. We saw 2 without even hiking too far, and I'm sure there's a lot more to see. We only touched the surface of what we could do on this park. There's so many hiking trails. It's definitely a great place if you want to add on your list. It's kind of a remote area, and it's really nice to get out, and you're surrounded by complete nature in this area. And another place we checked out was this was an area it's an actual private camp on the Kentucky River in central Kentucky, and this is Cummings Ferry Park. We did this early this spring, so the trees weren't out, but it's a beautiful park for a private area, and it's got a lot of things to do later in the year. We got there a little early, so there was just a little bit of hiking to do in the area, but it's got a beautiful waterfall that's across from the actual area. There's a lot of kayaking. You bring your own kayak, or they rent some during the summer months, and it's just a really nice area to check out. And of course, there's all of our favorites that we like. We've shown you these, so we won't get into details, but we always enjoy going back to some of our favorite places, most of them in central Kentucky, so we got to get out and enjoy these as well, and it's always good to go back to some place you know what to expect. So we spent quite a few days in some of our favorite places. And our totals for the year 2022, 17 nights in 11 different locations. So what are your camping goals for this 2023 coming up? I know we're going to go on a large trip out to South Dakota, but let us know in the comments what you plan on doing this next year, and give us some comments on what places you stayed at you really want everybody else to know about. And that's about all I have, and we'll talk to you on the next video.